Okay. Good evening and welcome to tonight's forum. I'm not sure. If we lost President Scott one moment. Cut off. So welcome. City Council hosting this public forum to hear the community's perspective regarding the increased use of dirt bikes, ATVs, and similar off-road vehicles on the city's roadways. This forum will function similarly to our Speak to Council sessions, meaning council is here to listen. As such, it is standard that we do not respond to the comments made during the session. Participants' contact information has been collected and shared with council, and we may reach out to you from there. If you are participating on Zoom and watching a live stream while you're waiting for your turn to speak, please mute or exit the live stream before you enter the Zoom meeting. We will now begin the forum.
Kevin McKay with email comments.
What?
I don't see them. Do you want me to just start reading them?
Yes, please.
Kevin McCabe sent in, I just wanted to write and urge the city council to not pass legislation imposing hefty fines for riding unlicensed motor vehicles on the road, but also to allow RPD and state troopers to pursue these vehicles when they are observed on the road. City residents are fed up with these 20 and 30-something-year-old children using our cities as their playground. They have been nothing but a menace and are fully out of control. I also urge City Council not to entertain their argument for needing a place to ride similar to Rock City Skate Park for the following reasons. First, skateboarders were not breaking the law by skateboarding and were not causing any trouble to their fellow citizens. Second, if we make a dirt bike park somewhere in the city, then these riders will still just end up riding their bikes and ATVs on our roads to get to the park. There's zero chance these riders are going to go out and buy trucks and flatbeds capable of legally hauling an ATV or dirt bike on our roads. These riders made the stupid decision to waste their COVID stimulus checks on vehicles that have no place to legally ride, It's not the city's responsibility to fix their bonehead mistake.
Bill Fitzpatrick, email comments.
Thank you for addressing the public nuisance posed by dirt bikes and ATVs on city streets. I'm writing to emphasize that this is really part of a larger problem that has undermined quality of life in Rochester. And that larger problem won't be fully addressed just by getting these targeted vehicles off the streets, though that is a good start. In addition to dirt bikes and ATVs, there are hundreds of motorcycles that are licensed for use on public streets, but are being operated illegally in two ways. First, they have been modified to be ear-piercingly loud, radically violating the city's noise ordinances. And second, they are driven aggressively for hours of joyriding every afternoon and evening, racing up and down city streets and in and out of public parks, putting everyone at risk and harassing residents. I live near the entrance to Cobbs Hill Reservoir Park on Highland Ave, and quality of life in this neighborhood has frankly been destroyed by this. It starts mid-afternoon and continues until mid to late evening every single day, and then often starts up again late at night, illegally after the park gate has closed and into the early morning hours. I am not talking about ordinary motorcycles driven respectfully to get from one place to another. I'm talking about joyriding for hours every day with amped up, noise-enhanced vehicles that are so loud that even inside our home with all our windows shut, we cannot conduct a Zoom session for work or hear a phone conversation, let alone enjoy music, for example. We used to enjoy having meals and conversation on our back porch, no longer. Now all we can hear are blasts of grinding noise of packs of motorcycles race down Highland and in and out of Cobbs Hill Park, revving their engines repeatedly to squealing pitches and sometimes pegging them there, to be followed by more of the same minutes later from the next group, hour after hour.
30 seconds.
Every time they rev their engines, it provokes a startle reflex, so that for hours every day, we are living with the constant stress of this harassment.
Philip Saul via Zoom.
They are not in the waiting room.
Okay. Michelle Cassia via Zoom.
Michelle is connecting to audio, and once she is connected, she can begin speaking.
Okay.
Michelle, you can begin speaking and I'll start your time.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Thank you for letting me join tonight. I just wanted to tell you a bit about myself. I am a lifelong resident of the city of Rochester. I currently reside in the Charlotte area. I've lived in my home for 19 years. The illegal ATV and dirt bike activity that's been going on really over the past year has just continued to escalate. And I'm really hoping that some voices are heard tonight in order to support the laws that already exist and enforcing those, and also to continue to advocate for the legislation that's proposed by Councilman Pio and move that forward in hopes to make our community stronger and more enjoyable. I've had some opportunities to see this firsthand living in the area. I walk my dogs frequently. I'm up on Lake Avenue multiple times a day. I'm seeing this illegal activity firsthand. There are people riding with no helmets. In the evening, there's no lights on these vehicles. They're speeding. There's no regard to any of the traffic rules and regulations that are going on. This is definitely a concern for safety in our area, not only for the riders, but for those that live in the community. I had one experience back in April, on April 10th. I was down at the beach area to pick up dinner from Mr. Dominic's. I was in the parking lot across the street waiting for my takeout, and there had to be at least 100 ATVs and dirt bikes that passed through at that time, speeding, doing wheelies. It was quite a scene. I mean, while I was sitting there, I saw people walking their dogs. There was a couple, both in wheelchairs, walking their dogs. It was complete chaos and disruption, not only for those down there enjoying the area, but for the business owners that have already suffered due to business closures and the COVID situation that we've all gone through. So it doesn't really make it very appealing for people who want to go down there and enjoy the area like we all do. I hear this repeated theme of freedom, of why this is going on, although I don't believe that breaking the law constitutes freedom. I think if the gentlemen that want to have freedom, there's other avenues, and we're doing them a disservice to allow them to continue to break the law, in essence. And what can we do to help in other areas to teach them fiscal responsibility and give them other opportunities to work towards legally enjoying the activity that they like so much. And I appreciate everybody's time on this, and I really hope that we can move forward to make this a better situation and start to enforce the laws that are already out there and the continued legislation, because this will be a long and unreasonable summer for all of us. Thank you.
Stuart Weaver via Zoom.
Thank you so much, and respected members of the City Council. My name is Stuart Weaver. I am a resident of the City of Rochester, currently residing with my family at 1608 Highland Avenue in the Cobbs Hill neighborhood. I want to thank the Council for addressing the public nuisance and hazard posed by dirt bikes and ATVs operating with impunity on city streets, and support the proposed legislation that would ban such practice. More urgently, however, I want to speak to a related nuisance and hazard that this legislation only partially addresses, namely the increasing numbers of motorcycles that are licensed for use on public streets but violate with impunity the city's noise ordinances and speed limits. And in particular, I want to draw the Council's attention to the motorcycle crisis that has lately overwhelmed Cobbs Hill Reservoir and its surrounding park and neighborhood. Besides being an essential part of the municipal water supply system, Cobbs Hill Reservoir is a precious public amenity and green space park. Together with the adjoining woods of Washington Grove, it offers city dwellers from all city neighborhoods safe and restorative respite from the noise, traffic, and stress of their daily lives. Each day, hundreds or more joggers, bicycle riders, walkers, sledders, families with strollers, athletes from all parts of our city repair to the reservoir. Safe, healthful recreation, exercise, or simple, calm repose more needed than ever in the time of a pandemic crisis. For the years I've lived on Highland Avenue, I've watched with joy the many different sorts of people, young, old, men, women, white, black, people of all colors and cultures, who come to the reservoir for tranquility and to enjoy it purposefully in the way intended. In the past 2 or 3 years, however, Cobbs Hill Reservoir has been increasingly taken over and colonized by reckless and thoughtless gangs of mostly suburban motorcyclists who have turned the Reservoir Road into their personal joyriding circuit. And of course, joyriding has its place. I do not deny the right of motorcyclists to pursue their joyful form of recreation, leisure, and sport. But a city park is not the place for it, especially when we were talking about purposefully modified, amped up, noise-enhanced speeding motorcycles designed to annoy, that every day, starting in mid-afternoon and continuing deep into the night, well past park closing time, tear around the reservoir in blatant disregard for the safety and well-being of those around them. It is not going too far to say that these sonic bullies have destroyed the quality of life and mental well-being of those living in the Cobbs Hill neighborhood, even as they threaten and endanger the lives of the many strollers, joggers, and bicyclists who go to the reservoir seeking solace, calm, and mental peace. We have appealed to city officials. We have appealed to the police. We have appealed to the Water Authority. We have appealed to Monroe County. Nothing as yet has been done to stem the daily assault of these dangerous engines of noise, speed, and mayhem on what was was once and still could be a precious amenity and the jewel of the city park system. We implore the City Council to broaden the proposed legislation to do something about this, or better yet, to do something to address the specific crisis at Cobbs Hill Park. For reasons of safety, security, and communal sanity and the well-being of everyone in our community, motorcycles should simply be banned from the Cobbs Hill Reservoir
That's
Road.
time.
Thank you.
Mary Jane Chemnitz, email comments.
If you would like my input, I will state the following. There are rules in place, and it is illegal to drive off-road vehicles on the road now. I am not sure why we need more and why anyone believes additional penalties will prevent illegal activity. I do not believe it will. The only way to prevent it is enforcement. This is not up to par. The police did a great job on Thursday before the weekend on Lake Avenue. Exception was one motor scooter who rode past them on the sidewalk. In any case, if we had 2 or 3 police patrolling Lake Avenue at least 5 to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday and Friday through Sunday all day, it would benefit the Charlotte community and help the traffic on Lake Avenue. Secondly, if the police were at the beach in force like they were this weekend, actively on bikes, cars, and foot, not necessarily as many, it would also help the Charlotte community. Charlotte is suffering and we need attention. We don't need more laws because all it will do is impound their vehicles. They will get more from street sales instead of getting these out of impound. The law is targeting more of the poor areas and not helping the issue at hand. The riders are modeling the Charm City Kings and want the same attention. If you build a park, I do not think it will help unless you analyze where the bulk of the riders live and build it in that area. These illegal riders are going to ride to the park. There is no other option, so you would need to recognize this as a reality. I think it would be a good idea, but then what happens when these riders get hurt or crash? The city is self-insured and is a liability that not many would want to take on. My point is enforcement is what is needed. And until we have this, no amount of laws are going to cease the illegal activity. Thank you for your time.
Douglas Coleman via Zoom.
They are not in the waiting room.
Michelle Heck, email comments.
My name is Michelle and I live on Ladder Road, right by Lake Avenue. The number of dirt bikes, crotch rockets, and ATVs that noisily speed down Lake Avenue is unbelievable. They are extremely loud, super fast, and so unsafe. I see wheelies and unsafe swerving in and out of traffic. My 10-year-old is petrified when they rev their engines and whip by her at 60 miles per hour. Yesterday, one young man was accelerating while popping a wheelie and nearly lost control. I do not want to have to shield my daughter from the gruesome sight when he crashes. She asks me every time we walk around the block, are those loud, crazy drivers going to be out today? Please help me to keep my family and those riders safe.
Melissa Weiner, email comments.
As a homeowner on Highland Avenue, across from Cobbs Hill Park, I beg you to finally stop motorcyclists from using this neighborhood as a speedway. They race along Highland and around the reservoir from mid-afternoon through late evening, even after the park gate closes at night, by driving around it at speeds that endanger pedestrians and other motorists. And their motorcycles are so loud, many have been noise enhanced, that my family and I no longer have full use of our home or property. Among the things we've had to give up: sleeping with our windows open, spending time on our front lawn, working or studying on our back porch. For years, residents have begged for solutions to the motorcycle tyranny, writing to city officials and calling police. And not only have the motorcyclists kept racing, they've multiplied. I understand that for them, this is a fun activity, and I'm not suggesting that motorcycle racing does not have its place, but Cobbs Hill is not that place. Motorcyclists' right to have fun shouldn't trump everyone else's right to use their homes and yards, or more important yet, to be safe. The Reservoir path, street, and sidewalks here are heavily used by pedestrians and joggers, including families with small children and pets, and by sports teams that use their field near the corner of Monroe and Highland, and naturally spill onto the sidewalk and cross the street on foot. At least some solutions or partial solutions seem easy to implement and not necessarily expensive. For instance, speed bumps on the Reservoir and on westbound Highland between the park exit and Monroe Avenue would make the roads unsuitable for racing. So will consistent police enforcement of city noise and speed limits on and below the Reservoir. The motorcyclists don't just speed on the Reservoir Road. When they exit onto Highland, they careen to Monroe Avenue and beyond as if they're in a drag race. It's only a matter of time before someone or someones are killed in the process. The steps the city has taken so far, electronic monitors that flash motorist speeds, marked police cars
30
occasionally
seconds.
parked on Highland to the east of the Reservoir entrance, help only temporarily.
Suzanne Phillips, email comments.
Dear City Council, I have been a resident of Charlotte for 40 plus years and find the great increase of ATVs, dirt bikes, and other vehicles that should not be driven on city streets, sidewalks, property, and city parks very distressing. Some of the drivers and riders of these illegal vehicles do not realize the danger in which they are putting themselves, while many just don't care and feel themselves entitled to do whatever they please. Sadly and unfairly, the people operating these illegal vehicles are putting many others at risk. I know of several people who, while driving their legal licensed insured vehicles, had to take unsafe, evasive actions to avoid hitting one of these illegal vehicles. These illegal vehicles are a great danger to their drivers, their riders, and all legal drivers, bikers, pedestrians. I strongly urge passing legislation to ban all off-road vehicles from city streets, sidewalks, property, and parks. People violating this legislation should have their vehicles impounded and heavy fines imposed.
Cheryl Enders via Zoom.
They are not in the waiting room.
Carrie Seal, email comments.
I wish to voice my opinion in favor of all legislation put forth to end the use of ATVs, dirt bikes, etc. on public roadways and our city neighborhood streets and sidewalks, including hopefully more police presence in this area to enforce it all. There are enough accidents and deaths on Lake Avenue, specifically at the end of my street as well, already involving cars that are allowed legally on the roads. We don't need these illegal vehicles adding to that.
Susan Morehouse via Zoom.
Hello. I have several questions that I would like to ask about creating an ATV park. I would like to know, how would people get their bikes to the park without driving on city streets and sidewalks? How many have trailers or trucks to take their bikes to the park, wherever that would end up being? And who would police that? So they would stop somebody who was driving down the road in their ATV, and they'd say, oh, well, we're just going to the ATV park. That's of concern to me. I've read that federal money would be coming to the city. What other better uses could be used for that money that would benefit more people than an ATV park? Question number 3, what is the percentage of the city population who would actually use such a park and benefit from this city investment? An idea that this is a special interest group. There's lots of special interest groups in Rochester, New York. What percentage of these people is that the percentage of the population in Rochester? Who would monitor and maintain the park? Who would police it? What if there were different gangs that began to show up there with their different ATVs and began to have problems in relating to each other? Who would pay for injuries and death lawsuits that certainly would come from park accidents? Who would be paying for the insurance that the city would have to carry for such a park, or Monroe County? Where could such a park be set up where the noise would not be a problem for the surrounding communities? Right now, we're dealing with a lot of noise problems with these bikes roaring up and down the street on the southwest side, doing wheelies, which I heard other people talking about. There are lots of small special interest groups in Rochester. We have a very diverse community. I particularly have a love of birds. So I like to do, I like to go and do bird watching. What percentage of the population of Rochester is interested in birds?
30 seconds.
So, maybe it's the same percentage as the people who drive ATVs. So why should they have a special park? Why can't I have a special park for my love of birds? It's just kind of a question. It's because I don't demand that. And I don't threaten to drive my ATV lawlessly in an unsafe way on the street if you don't provide me with a park to ride my bike in. So that's of concern.
That's time.
Thank you.
Robert Jones via Zoom.
They are not in the waiting room.
Jennifer Lewandowski, email comments.
Please, let's get this situation of illegal dirt bikes and ATVs off the roads. They often travel in groups. They are intimidating and reckless, weaving in and out of traffic, blocking traffic, popping wheelies, and going on the trail between Riverside Cemetery and Burley Road. I am shocked that it has gone on this long. I am unable to attend tonight's forum, but look forward to hearing real solutions.
Mary Lynn Burchill, email comments.
I am unable to attend the forum today. From Channel 10 News, Rochester City officials Tuesday night want to know how you feel about illegal dirt bikes and ATVs in the city. Keyword illegal. How about allowing current laws to be enforced? The forum comes just a week after Monroe County passed a new law allowing authorities to confiscate the bikes and ATVs. Penalties for the first offense will get you a $500 fine, while the second time it will cost you $2,000. Bravo, enforce the law. Why should law-abiding citizens be terrorized by those that choose to break the law? Infringement on my rights as a citizen of the city. I no longer feel safe driving on the city roads or highways. The city streets and highways already have enough hazards. Now add illegal groups of dirt bikes and ATVs, many not wearing helmets, also many not following basic rules of the road. Public safety and law enforcement of the law should be the #1 priority of the city administration and the city council. Thank you.
Joan Gray Lingberg, email comments.
Dear council members, I am the leader of the Lilac Neighbors of Southeast Rochester. I have seen individual motorbikes riding on the sidewalk on South Avenue, going faster than the 30-mile-per-hour speed limit. They use the roads in Mount Hope Cemetery as a playground. They have come up behind me on the Erie, Lackawanna, and Brickyard trails. This activity is not always done by gangs of riders. Individual riders are breaking the law. I support the council's effort to restore order to city streets by confiscating motorbikes and fining the bike owners. Why do you support giving illegal bikes back to the owners? Do you support giving illegal guns back to the owners? I do not support the idea floated about a park being set aside for the use of illegal ATVs. That's rewarding bad behavior at taxpayer expense. What strategies will be used to catch and prosecute these motorbike riders? An RPD lieutenant has stated that there are only 3 officers who are trained in the use of drones to watch the motorbike riders. It seems that the onus of reporting illegal motorbikes falls to the neighbors who are victimized by this illegal activity. There have to be other strategies for combating this menace.
James Reinhardt, email comments.
I strongly feel that if they are not licensed and insured, they should be off the road. We have to register our cars and trucks and have insurance. Then why should they ride free? If you build a riding area for them, they should have insurance on the ATVs and dirt bikes as well. They should be charged with a yearly permit to ride on the areas as well. This would help with the upkeep of the area. If they do not have insurance, they should be charged for each day they do not, just like cars and trucks. I see a lawsuit when one gets hurt and sues the city.
Lorenzo Jones via Zoom.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes, I'm
Yep.
here. I'm Lorenzo Jones. Hello, everyone. I am a writer in Rochester, New York, and I would like to say a couple things. You know, the writers are looking for a compromise, a park to go to, a place to go to, a place where we can take our outlet and our hobby to safely and enjoy it and teach people how to ride, have children can ride as well. I understand that these vehicles are illegal right now, and we would like to work on ways to get those legalized and be able to be on the road and not be such a nuisance to the community, so to speak. You know, this is our passion and our hobby. We're not trying to purposely hurt anyone. We're not trying to purposely make everyone be upset with us. We're not trying to purposely destroy the neighborhood or tear the neighborhood up or devalue your neighborhood. We just have an outlet and a hobby that we love to do. And there's freedom for us. And if we can get somewhere we can take everything to, we can get everything taken care of as far as trailers to and from the location, because we travel with this thing as well. This is not a local thing. When we travel out of state or out of the city, we get trailers, we buy trailers, we take bikes from where they need to go to one place to another. So that wouldn't be a problem for us. But increasing fines, increasing police presence, kind of feels like an attack in one direction, and you guys would like to have us totally stop our hobby and our passion and what we live for. And I would think that would just cause more chaos. It would cause more rebellion. It would cause more problems and more accidents if you have police chasing bikers and possibly hitting the guy off a bike. Drones, people will start panicking, and people panic, they don't do the best things. So I'm just here to say that if we can get a place where we can come together as a city and create this park and come together as a community, that would be amazing, because that would show that we're all lockstep and together. If we can get a place that we can go to and all work together instead of enforcement, because the bottom line is this thing would not stop. This thing will not go away. The riders would not stop riding, no matter how much the fines are, no matter how much enforcement there is. This is our hobby and our passion. So we can all work together as a community and come together and get a place that we can do safely and be there safely and get all the kinks and everything worked out
30
of that,
seconds.
that would be what I love to do. That's all I have to say. I appreciate the City Council for listening.
Stacy Callaghan, email comments.
I moved to the Charlotte neighborhood 3 years ago. The first summer that I lived there was great. Last summer was a nightmare due to illegal drug and prostitution activity all day and all night parading up down my street and the incessant fireworks. I worked diligently to get those renters evicted. Now this summer, I can't even hear my television or entertain outside due to the constant sound of cars with some sort of muffler that makes them extremely and annoyingly loud, and crotch rockets every single warm night. This is seriously disturbing the peace. Now on to the blatant and dangerous speeding of all these vehicles, as well as dirt bikes and ATVs parading around and around and around all night long, especially on Sunday evenings between the hours of, let's say, 7 to 10 p.m. They use Lake Ave, Stonewood, Britton, or Denise, Dewey Ave, and the Parkway as a racetrack. The Parkway is not patrolled sufficiently. We are literally held hostage as we are unable to leave our streets without fear of an accident. I am not afraid to hit one of them, but I am afraid of repercussions from other riders. I also don't want to have to be bothered with all that goes along with an accident, i.e. accident reports, car repair, etc. It is not fair to put the tax-paying residents under this kind of duress. I've heard all of the excuses of kids needing an outlet. Charlotte has always been this way, and I can assure you it has not. I grew up down here and was one of troublemakers hanging out at the beach. We did not use the streets as a racetrack. We did not ride dirt bikes and ATVs down the sidewalks, forcing walkers with pets and children to jump out of the way. These kids are out of control. They are doing this on purpose to terrorize the neighborhoods and police officers. I have had it. Yesterday, even with all of the police presence, I was forced to come to a sudden stop trying to enter the Parkway from the Greenleaf on-ramp because two guys were drag racing. This caused my poor dog to fly from the back seat into the dashboard. It took everything I had not to follow them to
30
the
seconds.
beach and confront them. I am regretting that I didn't follow them and flag down a police officer stationed down there. Again, we pay taxes and have the right to have safe roads, public parks, and have noise ordinances and laws enforced. No more excuses for these disrespectful, law-breaking terrorists. If you think it is okay for these things to be happening, how about we open up your streets to use as their racetrack?
That's
If
time.
Sam Smith via Zoom.
Hello, how y'all doing? Well, I just wanted to say, when we ride and we say we feel free, it's not like freedom, because we riding in the city. Most of the people we riding with don't have a steady home, a steady family. So when we all ride together, we all a family. It don't matter what part of town you from. It don't matter if you white. It don't matter if you black, Asian. We all a family together. We're not a gang. We all look at each other as family. And they're saying like we all out 100 bikes in the street. Would you rather see 100 bikes out in the street or 100 kids out on the block selling drugs and with guns? Riding these bikes, it's like a passion to give us something to do. It's a gateway out of the hood, literally. Literally, there's a whole lot of stuff we could be doing, and all we are doing is just riding the bikes and really just making new friends, meeting new people. I've met so many people riding bikes. It's crazy. And like I said before in the last Zoom call, like I literally made a career off of riding bikes. I started riding bikes when I was very, very, very young. And like, I wouldn't say I didn't have that much money. So whenever my bike broke, I had to work on my own bike. And that all like just brought me knowledge to myself. And now that I'm translated over to cars, I'm in trade school for cars. I got my little nephew. My little nephew's 10 years old. He saved up $400 of his own money to buy a bike. My nephew always hit me up because he wanted to like work on the bikes with me. And it's like a lot of stuff he could be doing. And I'm proud of my nephew because he don't want to do that. He just want to work on bikes and ride bikes. And with the police enforcing things, like, what do you mean by the police enforcing things? Is this like leading to police chasing us? Because if that's the problem, if we're going to get chased, of course we're going to run. Of course we're going to run. And that's going to lead to a crash. And that's going to be a big scene. And it's already happened a few times already. It's just not really out there because things like to stay hidden. What else do I want to say? Oh yeah, I guess the big thing is gangs. Like, we are not gangs. And we're in the city and they're calling us gang members. Why are we gangs? Because we're Black? Why can't we have a park in the city? Are we not good enough to have a park in the city? Because I know farther out there's dirt bike tracks and all of that. Are we not good enough? Racial profile. And I just feel like it's racial profiling at the same time. And people are saying like the bikes are starting to grow. Bikes have been around for a long time. And it's really hasn't been a problem until it has gotten to the suburban areas because it's bothering them. We don't have the opportunity that a lot of people have in like other towns because we're in the city. And that's really how I feel about it. And thank you for your time.
President Scott, that was the last speaker of the night, unless some more people have come into the waiting room that weren't there before.
Nope, no one else is in the waiting room.
All right, that was the last speaker of the night.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us and acknowledge my council colleagues who are here. I didn't ask you all to identify yourselves earlier because we were just sort of filtering in. But if you'd like to do so now, that would be good. I'll start with Vice President Lightfoot.
Greetings, everyone, City of Rochester residents, and to my president and also rest of my colleagues, Councilman Pio. And I just want to say this has been a very informative conversation. I'm so grateful. I'm Willie Lightfoot, City Council Vice President at large, and I'm grateful to be a part of this discussion and this conversation is very informative.
Councilmember Patterson.
I'm just waiting for the sign language interpreter to finish. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Patterson, City Council Member, Northeast District. I'd just like to thank everyone who took the time to send in an email or who took the time to actually call in and share your concerns with us. As a general rule, I know Council President mentioned it, but we don't comment during these sessions. We simply listen. So it was a pleasure to hear what you had to say. Thank you.
Councilmember Lupian.
Yeah, I share my colleagues' sentiments that I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to listen to everyone and their point of view. I personally hope that we can find a compromise because I see both sides of this issue. So thanks.
Councilmember Melendez.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Miguel Melendez, City Council Member at large. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. I appreciate the opportunity to hear from everyone and look forward to continuing the dialogue until we figure out how to move forward with this. Thank you.
Councilmember Pio.
Councilman Jose Pio from the Great Northwest. I appreciate everyone coming on. I know that many people felt as if their voices are not heard this past year, but they have been heard. Tonight was fantastic. Thank you all for showing up on both sides because it is always good to have your voices heard and always good to be in front of City Council and seeing what it's like behind the scenes. So I appreciate you.
Councilmember Harris.
Good evening. My name is Lachey Harris, City Council of South District. And again, I echo my colleagues' remarks. Very thankful to be here and listening to everyone's comments and looking forward to resolution.
And our staff who are present, Ms. Birchwhite?
Yes. Hi, I'm Bridget Birchwhite. I'm Deputy City Clerk. I'm filling in for our City Clerk, Hazel Washington, who is on vacation today. And it has been very interesting to hear the comments on both sides of this issue. And I know that the council will give it great consideration and make the right decision.
Ms. Hasselwander?
Hello, I'm a senior legislative analyst. Also the people, just want to thank everyone I had to email back and forth with to get this all set up. Thank you.
And we have a couple of other guests who I don't know, so please forgive me for not acknowledging you. My name is Loretta Scott. I'm City Council President, and I am so glad that you all joined us. As we've said, we want to hear your voices. There are usually two sides and sometimes three to every story, but we want to know what they are. We want to consider them thoughtfully and take the measures that best support the community. So we will be considering the legislation on this matter at our committee meeting on June 10th, Thursday, June 10th, and at our full council meeting on Tuesday, June 15th. Thank you all and have a great night.